students, this is Neelam. Today we are going to study chemistry subject for class 10 standard, and this is basically session 1, and the chapter which we are going to study over here is first chapter, acids, bases and salts. I repeat once again the name of the chapter, acids, bases and salts. Right? Now we need to understand each one in more detail. First we will emphasize upon acids and bases, then later on the production of salts will be there, that we will going to deal later on. Right? Now first we need to understand what are acids and then what are bases. Now what are acids? Now in your food style, whenever you are consuming food stuff, your mother is preparing food, right? Naturally that foodstuffs are containing acids and bases into it. For example, citric acid. Now citric acid is that acid which is present in the citric fruit. What are citric fruits? The lemon, the orange, the grapes. These are the fruits wherein naturally into that the citric acid is present, which are very sour in taste. Sour in taste means in Hindi the definition for sour is khatta, right? So this sour in taste means they are really very different taste for our mouth, right? Okay, now acids are basically sour in taste, whereas bases are bitter in taste. They are bitter in taste, right? Whereas the second test wherein we are going to understand from doing certain test over here by using a litmus paper. But first thing you need to understand, physically the acids and bases are naturally present in our foodstuff only. Now for example, some people are suffering from excessive acidity problem. Now what is acidity problem? In your stomach there is a certain natural digestive juice which is secreted, and that juice is nothing but HCl. HCl is hydrochloric acid. So when excessive hydrochloric acid is secreted in your tummy, that time you are suffering from acidity. So your mother, what she does, she will try to give you certain baking soda solution, or she will try to give certain ENO powder. This baking soda and ENO, they are bases, and the acid is secreted in your stomach. So in order to neutralize that acidity, the external basic agent you are ingesting in your digestive system. So acid which is secreted in your tummy plus the base wherein you are taking in, that acid and base will react to neutralize that reaction in your stomach itself, right? So that is a natural process which is taking in your human body itself, in your body itself, right? So that is there. Acids and bases are naturally present in our foodstuff only. So acids are sour in taste, bases are bitter in taste. So this is the tasting agent, or we can do with the externally taste. But there are certain chemical tests also for it. There are certain chemical tests for it. So in order to test the acid and the base which is present in the sample or the solution, there is one paper called as litmus paper, right? So this litmus paper, they are extracting from the lichen plant. They are extracting from the lichen plant. There are two types of litmus paper. First one is blue litmus paper and second one is red litmus paper. What are those litmus paper? Blue litmus paper and red litmus paper. This blue litmus paper will be blue in color, red litmus paper will be red in color. So what does this blue litmus paper does? Blue litmus paper, when you are going to treat with a certain acidic solution, it will convert that blue litmus paper into red litmus paper. So that is the test or the confirmation that this sample contains certain acid into it, right? Now for basic, what will be happening? Reverse it is. So the litmus paper which is red in color, if you treat with the sample or the solution, basic solution, which solution? Basic solution, it will convert that red litmus paper into blue, right? So this is a testing agent which says that particular solution is whether acidic in nature or basic in nature. Suppose if that sample is acidic in nature, that when you treat with the blue litmus paper, it convert into red litmus paper. So keep in mind, you have to just keep in mind, when acid is reacted with the blue litmus paper, then it will convert into red litmus paper. Then vice versa for base. When red litmus paper is treated with a basic agent, then it will be going to convert it into blue color, right? So that is the indication. So now here we will do certain experiment with the red litmus paper and blue litmus paper. That time you will understand in more detail. So there are the two papers of litmus paper, right? Two papers. One is blue litmus paper, which is blue in color, and this is red in color, right? So this is blue litmus paper and this is red litmus paper. These are the litmus papers which are extracted from lichen plant, and these are natural indicator. These are natural indicator which indicates that whether the sample is containing acid or base into it. Now first we will do with the blue litmus paper. What we said, blue litmus paper convert into red. When it will convert into red? When it is reacted with the acid. When it is reacted with the acid. Now there is a certain acid solution which is sulfuric acid. I took one sulfuric acid which is acidic in nature. So when I treat this sulfuric acid with the blue litmus paper, it should convert into red litmus paper, correct? So let's do this. Now I am just pouring certain drops of sulfuric acid into this blue litmus paper. Let's see this color change. So just a few drops of the acidic solution on the blue litmus paper. So you can see clearly over here the blue litmus paper is getting converted into red one, right? So this is a test which says that when the acid is reacted with the blue litmus paper, it is converting into the red one, right? So this is the indication that the sample is containing certain acidic component into it. Now let's go for the red litmus paper. Red litmus paper. Now what was the test for red litmus paper? So red litmus paper, when it was tested with the basis component, it was getting converted into blue color. Now suppose this is the red litmus paper which is red in color, right? So when this red litmus paper is reacting with a basic solution, it should convert into blue litmus paper. Now this is the base, right? The basic solution. So when I am just reacting this basic solution with the red litmus paper, so let's see what is the color change for it. Now I am adding certain few drops of the base into this red litmus paper. Can you see the color change? The red litmus paper is slowly getting converted into the blue one. The color change is prominently seen over here, right? So this is the test for blue litmus paper and the red litmus paper. Now what was the test for blue litmus paper? The test for the blue litmus paper is that when the acid component was reacted with the blue litmus, it was converted into blue color, red color. Similarly, when the basis component was reacted with or treated, or few drops of basis was added into the red litmus paper, it was converted into blue color. So that was a testing, wherein it says that whether that sample is acidic in nature or basic in nature. That was a test for acid and base. Now let's understand the next topic, which is experimentally done. So with the diagrammatic representation, we'll understand this in more detail. Now the next topic here is how do acids and bases react with the metals? How do acids and bases react with the metals? So this is the next concept wherein we are going to study over here. Now this is the experimental setup. The diagram which is drawn on the board is an assembly, the experimental setup for when the acid is reacted with a metal. Now first we will emphasize the reaction of acid on metal, right? So this we will understand. The acid has to react with the metal first step. Then the second step is that the base has to react with the metal. So first initial stage is acid is getting reacted with the metal. So here assembly consists of certain apparatus over here. This long test tube is there, which is just clipped into certain stand. They have been fixed with the stand. Then this test tube has an inverted tube inside it. You can say this inverted tube, which is nothing but called as a delivery tube, right? So this inverted tube and the test tube are fitted with one kind of a cork, right? This wooden cork is there, which is fixing the delivery tube with the test tube. So this assembly which is called as test tube, and the inverted tube fitted with the cork has been fixed with the stand with the help of a clamp, right? So this is the assembly, right? And apart from that, the one end or one opening of the inverted tube, delivery tube, is inserted into the test tube. The another end of delivery tube is inserted or kept into tub, right, which is containing, the tub is containing which solution? Soap solution. Soap solution means Nirma soap solution or soap solution, any soap solution, whichever you want to take that, right? So the another end of the delivery tube is inserted into the soap solution, right? Okay, now what does this test tube consist of? What does the test tube will contain into it? The main important ingredient which has to be kept into or pour into the test tube is metal. First one is metal. Which metal? Zinc metal. Zinc metal we are taking in the form of granules, right? So zinc metal, they have been added into the test tube, along with what? The dilute sulfuric acid is added. So what is the first reaction over here? The acid is reacting with the zinc, right? So what we are studying over here, the acid is reacting with the metal. Now metal, which metal we are taking? Zinc metal. Understood my point, right? So in test tube we are taking the zinc metal, the dilute sulfuric acid. This is H2SO4 is sulfuric acid, right? And then after reaction, certain product has been formed over here. That we'll understand later on. So first we need to understand what is the assembly is or the apparatus consists of into this experiment. Foremost thing is that the test tube and the inverted tube or delivery tube has been fixed with the cork. So this totally test tube and delivery tube which is inserted into the test tube has been fixed with the stand with the help of a clamp, right? So one end of the delivery tube is inserted into the test tube. The another end of the delivery tube is kept inside the tub, wherein the tub will be consisting of soap solution. Understanding my point? Soap solution. And just nearby to the tub, one person will be going to handle lighted candle over there nearby to tub. Now after experiment, after the reaction, what will be going to happen over there, or certain magical thing will be going to happen, that we'll discuss right now here. Now here in test tube, what we took? We took zinc granule. Which metal? Zinc granule, right? In the form of a small fine granules we took the metal. This zinc has to react with acid. So first we are understanding the reaction between acid and the metal. Acid and the metal. So acid, which acid we are taking? Sulfuric acid. And this is the molecular formula for sulfuric acid is H2SO4. So H2SO4 has to react with the zinc to form certain product. Understanding my point? Right. Now when zinc is reacted with the H2SO4 or acid is reacted with the metal, in turn I am going to say that when acid, now which is the acid, what acid we took? H2SO4. What is the metal? Which is the metal? The name of the metal wherein we are using over here is zinc, right? So acid plus metal, when they are reacting with each other, they will form certain product, and the product wherein they are forming over here is salt plus hydrogen gas. Salt plus hydrogen gas. So I repeat once again, it is given in the word form. This is a word form equation, is right written in the spellings, words. So when acid is reacted with a metal, what it is forming over there? A salt plus hydrogen gas, right? So this is a reaction wherein it will going to take place in this experiment, right? So which acid we took over here? We'll write down in the form of an equation now, right? Chemical reaction we'll write down. Which acid we took? Sulfuric acid, right? Sulfuric acid is H2SO4, right? So in test tube we added sulfuric acid, which is a chemical. This sulfuric acid has to react with a metal. Which metal? Zinc metal. So zinc is written in the form of a symbol Zn, right? So sulfuric acid, when treated with the zinc metal, it has to form salt. Now which salt it will be going to get formed? Now this zinc, the metal, will displace this sulfate ion, SO4 2 minus ion, from the sulfuric acid. I repeat once again, this zinc will displace this sulfate ion from sulfuric acid to form a salt which is called as zinc sulfate. which is zinc sulfate. So this, sulfate ion which is present in the sulfuric acid will be going to get displaced, will be going to get removed off from sulfuric acid by zinc. Understanding? So zinc is displacing sulfate ion. So sulfate ion going to get abstracted, removed from the sulfuric acid, and thereby it is forming a salt called as zinc sulfate. And who is left alone here? After the sulfate ion is removed by the zinc, displaced by the zinc, then hydrogen gas only is left, right? So hydrogen gas is left. So this hydrogen will be going to get evolved off in the form of a gas. So this is a simple reaction which is taking place over here, wherein sulfuric acid which is there in the test tube will be going to react with this zinc. So when it is reacting with the zinc will displace or remove off the sulfate ion from the sulfuric acid. So when it's removed off or displaces sulfate ion, it will form a salt, and the name of the salt is zinc sulfate. The name of the salt is zinc sulfate. And what is going to get released? What is remaining of over there, which is there in the free state, is hydrogen, which is going to get evolved in the form of a gas. Right? So that is a reaction which is taking place, wherein acid will react with a metal to form salt plus hydrogen gas in this reaction. So whatever the hydrogen gas, this is the bubbles you can see in this. The bubbles are nothing but the hydrogen gas which has been evolved after the reaction between zinc and the sulfuric acid. So this evolved hydrogen gas is there, no? The delivery tube wherein the U-tube, the U-turn tube which with the one end opened into the test tube and the another end opening into the tub, why they have kept? Because whatever the hydrogen gas which has been evolved from this reaction or after the reaction, this hydrogen gas will travel via this tube or will pass through this tube. Right? So when they will pass through this tube, which gas is evolving? Hydrogen gas. So this hydrogen gas will pass through this tube, delivery tube, and then they will come in contact with the soap solution. So when they will come in contact with the soap solution, you know how the soap solution will have leathers, right? They have the bubbles. So the hydrogen gas which is there, they will enter into the leathers means foams of the soap. They will enter into the foam and the bubble will form. A big bubble of hydrogen gas will be forming along with the foam. Right? So this foam with the hydrogen gas trap into it. Suppose this is the foam, right, leather, into which the hydrogen gas will be trapped. The hydrogen gas will be trapped, right? So foam along with the hydrogen gas which is trapped inside it, it will be going to get evolved from here. So when it is getting evolved from here, the foam, when it is coming out of it here, so when a person brings a lightened candle nearby to that hydrogen gas trapped inside the foam, it will have that spark over there, here. The burning of hydrogen gas with the pop sound, right? So the burnt candle, when they will be going to bring nearby to the hydrogen gas, it will just create certain spark over there and it will start burning out with the pop sound. Certain crackled sound or pop sound it will create over them. You will hear over that, because hydrogen catches, hydrogen is one kind of a fuel which catches fire easily, right? So that was the experimental setup, saying that when acid is reacted with the metal, it will form salt and hydrogen gas. So which acid we took over here? We took sulfuric acid. And the molecular formula for sulfuric acid is H2SO4. So when this sulfuric acid is reacted with the zinc, so this zinc metal will displaces this sulfate ion to form a salt called as zinc sulfate. Now this zinc sulfate which is formed, along with that the byproduct which is going to get formed over here is hydrogen gas. So this hydrogen gas which is getting evolved after the reaction between this acid and the metal, this hydrogen gas will pass through this delivery tube. So when it will pass through this delivery tube, right, the another opening or the another end of the I can say the delivery tube is inserted inside the tub, and the tub is containing what? The tub is containing soap solution. The soap solution is having foam, right? The leathers. So this gas will be going to get trapped inside the foam solution. So when the burnt candle is brought near that foam which is getting coming out of it, when it is brought near to that hydrogen gas foam, so what will happen? The blast or one kind of a spark, I cannot say the word blast also, we can say a spark is created over there with a pop sound, right? Because the hydrogen gas is nothing but it is a fuel which catches fire most easily over there, right? So what we studied over here, students, is nothing but we studied about the acid, bases. Now what are acids and bases? Acids or bases are the two important components which are present naturally in your foodstuff also. And the physical test appearance for acid is nothing but it is sour in taste, whereas base is bitter in taste, right? Then we done with the litmus paper also. There are two kind of litmus paper, blue litmus paper, red litmus paper. What was happening to the blue litmus paper? When blue litmus paper was treated with the acid component, it was getting converted into red. We saw in the test also. Then whereas in base what happens when the red litmus paper was treated with the basic solution or basic component, it was getting converted into blue, right? So that we visibly see with the eyes. Then apart from that, we studied how acid was treated with the metal. Which acids we took over here? First one is sulfuric acid, and along with that, what was getting reacted? Which metal was getting reacted over here? Zinc metal, which is there in the form of a granules, right? So when this sulfuric acid is treated with the zinc metal, what was getting formed over here? There, salt plus hydrogen gas. Which salt? Zinc sulfate. Why zinc sulfate? Zinc was displacing the sulfate ion to form zinc sulfate, along with what? The hydrogen gas will be going to get evolved from there. So the hydrogen gas which was getting evolved, it was trapped inside the foam, and when the burnt candle brought nearby to the foam, it just created certain spark with the pop sound over there, because hydrogen is a good fuel which catches fire easily. Okay, now we are going to study the reaction between base and metal. Initially what we studied? The reaction between acid plus metal. Which acid we took over there? Sulfuric acid. And which metal we took over there? Zinc metal. Now here also the reaction is happening between base plus metal. Now the same diagrammatic representation will be there, but instead of adding acid, sulfuric acid, we are going to add base into it, right? The same setup with the test tube and the delivery tube fixed to the clamp. The delivery tube, one end of the delivery tube inserted into the test tube, the another end will be inserted into the tub containing the soap solution, right? So here in test tube, instead of adding sulfuric acid, we are going to add a base, and the name of the base is sodium hydroxide. Sodium hydroxide, which is NaOH. The molecular formula for sodium hydroxide is NaOH. Right? So instead of adding sulfuric acid component into the test tube, we are going to add base into it. Along with what? We are going to add zinc granule, zinc metal. Right? So the same setup, the same thing will be there, but here the reaction will be different. The reaction will be different because we took base. There acid was there, we are taking here base. Now here also the same thing. When the base was reacted with the metal, it will form salt and hydrogen gas. The product and the byproduct are similar. The product and the byproduct are similar. Here also the product and byproduct was similar, but the reactant were different. What are reactant? Reactant are nothing but the material, when they are reacting each other, they will form certain new substance. So these are the reactant. Right? So this you have been already studied in 9th standard, right? So when the reactant are reacting, or the raw material, when they are reacting with each other, they will form certain product and the byproduct. So which base we took over there? We took NaOH. NaOH is sodium hydroxide. So base is sodium hydroxide. When I am adding sodium hydroxide, 2 molecules of sodium hydroxide into the test tube, the metal wherein I am going to take over there is zinc metal. right? So which are the two components wherein we are going to add into the test tube? First one is NaOH, second one is zinc metal. NaOH is base, right? Metal is zinc, which is wherein we are taking the form of a granules. Granule means fine powders, in the sense small we cannot say fine powder also, it's just a minute granule of it, like sand particles, how they are. In the similar way, the zinc metal will be also present in the form of a sand particle, like sand particles, right? Okay, now this base NaOH, when it was reacted with the zinc metal, right, it has to form salt. Along with what it is getting evolved? Hydrogen gas. So we'll remove first hydrogen gas in the form of a byproduct. So hydrogen gas is getting evolved out from it. So hydrogen gas we removed, H2O. So if 2 I am writing in the front of the reactant, that means 2 sodiums are there, 2 oxygen is there, 2 hydrogen is there, right? If I am not writing here anything in front of zinc, that means it is a 1. Right, 1 zinc metal. But if I am writing 2 in front of the NaOH, that means 2 sodium atom, 2 oxygen atom, 2 hydrogen atom. So here already what is getting evolved out as a byproduct? Hydrogen gas, right? So I am just removing, abstracting hydrogen gas from it. So which salt here it will be going to get formed over here. Now sodium, how many sodiums are there? 2 sodium. So 2 sodium I will write like this, Na2, and then zinc will be there. Along with that, how many oxygen? 2 oxygen. So this is sodium zincate. This is sodium zincate. How come the sodium zincate is formed? Na2 will react with this zinc along with the oxygen over here. So all together Na, this entire thing, 2NaO will react with the zinc. I repeat once again, 2NaO will entirely react with this zinc to form Na2, ZnO2. Why I did not wrote 2 over here for zinc? I cannot write 2 over like this over here for zinc, because here only one metal, zinc metal particle I have took over there. Understanding my point, right? So in subscript, 2 sodium, zinc, 2 oxygen, and this molecule name is sodium zincate. I repeat once again, sodium zincate. How comes the sodium zincate is formed? By reaction with sodium hydroxide and the metal called as zinc. So whenever the base NaOH is reacting with the metal, the salt, nothing but which is called as sodium zincate, along with hydrogen gas will be going to get evolved out. So what is the name of this salt? The name of that salt is basically sodium zincate, right? So this is the name of this. So if I want to represent in the neat form, this is a rough, in order to make you an explanation, this is a rough equation I had written. But in examination, you are not supposed to write in this manner. So if in any examination, if you have to write in a neat form, right? So how you will be going to write the reaction for this? So what I said, the base, what is the base? NaOH, right? The name of the base wherein we took over there is NaOH. How many molecules of NaOH? 2, right? So when I am reacting 2 molecules of NaOH with a zinc metal, it was forming sodium zincate. And what is that? Na2, ZnO2. Along with that, what is getting evolved of? Hydrogen gas. So this is the neat representation of the reaction. Understanding? So in the examination, you are supposed to write in this form, right? Wherein base, when it is reacting with the metal, it is forming a salt called as sodium zincate plus hydrogen gas. So that was a reaction between acid plus metal. This is a reaction between base plus metal, forming the same product, metal plus salt plus hydrogen gas, right? Same product, but the ingredient, initial reactant are different, therefore the salt will be little different. Understanding? There the salt was ZnSO4, which is zinc sulfate. Here the salt is sodium zincate. Okay, thank you.